All right, guys. So I am ranking my favorite animes for the summer of 2025. Okay, that's basically the things that just ended as of the last week of September. And when I do my favorites, this is not the best written show. This has nothing to do with oh my gosh, to I don't, whatever metrics y'all use. It's not an objective argument. It's a subjective argument. It's all about how I felt, so that you can know a few things, some interesting perspectives on the shows from a person like me. People always recommend me shows, so you guys know what I like the most and what resonates with me the most. Three, if you have a similar taste to me, right? Then when I'm talking about things, you're gonna go, we have a similar taste. Lee said X, Y, and Z. If you are looking at this list and you're like, oh my gosh, why is that show number 10? All it is we have a different taste. That's why there's so much varieties of food. And that's just that, you know? Anyways, let us jump into it. And guys, if you guys like the character rankings and just want to hear more authentic opinions without me holding back, the biggest thing that y'all can do is subscribe. That lets me know that you like listening and you want more of it. Without the subscription, I'm like, there's obviously something I'm doing wrong, or people are not interested in that. A lot of people just silently watch and move on. So let's just jump into the actual ranking, right? I'm going to do something a little different, and it might be a little cheap. I am not going to do a top 5. I'm going to do a top 6. And when I do my top 6, you guys are instantly going to understand, right? Again, these are gonna be my favorite shows. So let's start with the top 6. So we're gonna start with like the bottom 6, right? For me, that's gonna be Sakamoto Days, right? That's gonna be Dan, and that's gonna be Kaiju number 8. But I actually want to put Kaiju number 8 first. But of those, and of the Kaiju number 8, Sakamoto Days, and Dan, it doesn't. I know this is gonna be a cheap argument or a cheap point of view. I've thought about it, and I can't tell you which one is better than the other. I can tell you I tend to like Kaiju number 8, so there is a way that I can separate this. The characters being adult, mature, and the underdog story, and the constant, unexpected ways of powering up characters really make it stay with me more, right? So actually, I think I can separate it. It's not until you talk about it out loud that it starts to resonate. That's what it is with Kaiju number 8, why I like it more. The reason why I was grouping them all together is I think, for the most part, when it comes to the chaos, some of them are funnier than others. Sakamoto Days and Dan is more funny than Kaiju number 8. And that's probably why Kaiju number 8 separated itself. It's not as funny. It stayed a little more serious, and that's why it stayed in my heart a little bit more. So Dan and Sakamoto Days, it's a similar formula of chaos, comedy, overcoming the villain in a way that's unexpected with very, very, very likable characters, right? They both basically did the same thing. One has Dan has a romance element, which I tend to like, which in my opinion, as I talk about it, will separate it from Sakamoto Days. Sakamoto Days does not have that romance element. That's a little bit more of a reason to invest in these characters. I think I care more about the characters than Dan, so it actually has separated itself from Sakamoto Days, which has naturally allowed me to get away from my argument, which was trying to keep them in the same category. And as I've talked about it out loud, it's not. But as you can hear me talking, you know I've thought about these things. But it's like when I'm saying it out loud, I'm like, no, I know what to do. So there is my rankings, and it's very clear that Sakamoto Days does not enter the top 5. And I was going to do a top 6, be cheap, put them all together, and now it's easier for me to not do that. Now we're gonna move on to what I consider number. What's happening here? Ah, I see. Yes, I see. I see why I have this at number 3. I'm following my instincts. I already thought about it. I knew what I was going to do, and I had to think about why I'm doing this. The Summer Hikaru Died is phenomenal, and I'm going to tell you the absolute truth. I actually would rewatch any one of 4, 5, or 6 before I rewatched The Summer Hikaru Died. It's not a show that I would rewatch personally, but I like how original the story is, and I feel like the Kaiju number 8, the Dan, the Sakamoto Days, despite me loving them very much, they're a diamond. You get them often. They're a common type of formula that you're always going to experience, or you often will experience in some shape or form, right? The Summer Hikaru Died is a little more niche. It's not something I'm used to seeing, and I want to encourage the industry to do that more. I do, and I can stand on that. I want to see that more. That way I won't get stale. It won't get stagnant with repeating the same types of formulas. While these were phenomenal at the execution. Kaiju number 8 was phenomenal. Dandadan was phenomenal. Sakamoto Days was phenomenal. But as you saw at one point, I considered putting them on the same list because that's how they meant to me. When I talked about it, I was able to finally separate it. But like Summer Hikaru Died, I don't really need to. There's nothing that it compares to. It could be better than, but I really can't compare the beats of the story in my mind, how I define it. Once again, everyone has a different opinion and a different take, and this is just mine. It's not objective. It's just the truth. I mean, it's just subjective. All right, we're moving on to the next one. All right, this is actually a second recording session. So if I say something that's weird or repetitive, it's like, yeah, it's actually 5 hours in between whatever I just said. So anyways, we're moving on to number 2, folks. And that, for me, was Taco P's Original Sin. Again, it was unique. It wasn't anything that I have ever experienced. It was a fantastic story with twists and turns, getting you to invest in characters that you care about. And like I said, it was different. You know, it wasn't the same formula that we are used to. And when I'm doing my rankings and reflections, I definitely want to give those points. You know, you could do the same thing, you know, with a different twist or whatever. And, you know, that's great. It's a fantastic story. I love it. But when you can come up with something that's basically original, you took a risk. I got to reward the risk takers when it comes to the ranking that I'm doing. I want to reward risk takers, people that tried something totally different. And again, I always want to keep reinforcing it. That doesn't mean that just because you're not in the top 1 or 2 that I don't think you're doing things different. I just want to emphasize, if you've watched all of these animes, that Taco P's Original Sin and The Summer Hikaru Died are really not like a lot of mainstream shows. They're just not. All right, always got to keep emphasizing that. It's people like, oh my God, and believe me, we're going to talk about some shows. But before we get to number 1, especially if it's your first time here, we want to talk about some shows that are not going to make the number 1 favorite list. And we're not talking about quality. We're talking about what I like and why. We'll start with My Dress Up Darling. It's not making it to the list. For me, what drew me to My Dress Up Darling was Marin. A lot of Marin, okay? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I can't do it, otherwise I'll miss the mark. I got drawn to My Dress Up Darling because of fan service. I saw some toes and some footwork, and I was like, yeah, I want to see what that show was about. We started watching the show with a lot of cosplay, a lot of tension between her and Gojo, and I'm like, this is a dope rom-com. Season 2 comes forth, and it's no longer really an emphasis on a rom-com, but it's more of an emphasis on a slice of life. That pulls out my investment. Doesn't mean the story is bad. It's just the reason why I was invested in the story isn't really that big of a deal. Now, hear me out. Sometimes you go for the plot, and then you stay for the plot. Like, please put me on Takumi-san. You go there for the fan service, and you're like, oh, they're actually telling a good story. I'm invested, right? So it's okay that, yeah, you came for the fan service, right? And then you realize that this is not the kind of show for you, but they pivoted you to a different direction, right? They baited you, and now here's the hook. Bait, here's the hook. But in this particular scenario, I got baited, and the hook isn't curved. It's linear. So you just right on out, you know? I'm not going to put this in my mouth because it's going to be a wild clip. You got to pay for that. So that's not making on the list. Let's talk about another show that's not making on the number 1 spot. That's Shield Hero. I overall like Shield Hero more than My Dress Up Darling. I'll worry about his overall ranking. Shield Hero, to me, started off with absolute gas when they were in the animal kingdom that they were in. And, well, there's a bunch of animals. Well, they were in a beast kingdom, and they were fighting, and they didn't believe their homie was him, and they were trying to lock him down. I really enjoyed that first half with a lot of excitement, and I thought the second half was just okay from an emotional perspective. None of it was peak writing, but it was, is this a fun story? I found the first half real fun, the second half not so much. The emphasis on Raftelia is actually a key thing that I have to think about, and I realized as much as Raftelia is an awesome individual and an awesome woman, when we focus on her storyline, I don't really find it exciting. I don't find her exciting. She's a very vanilla character who I respect. She is the sword of Naofumi. I don't want to disrespect her, but she's not a very toxic character. She's really a good person, and sometimes it's like, yeah, your story is just cool, but it's not going to drive me. And in Shield Hero, the toxic characters really push me. My favorite person is the bitch. The evil princess. That's my favorite person in the franchise. And Ravtelia is literally the polar opposite. That tells you exactly what I'm trying to explain here. So that didn't make it on the list, okay? And then we got Clavetes, okay? That didn't make it on the list. Clavetes was actually a great show. There's nothing wrong with it. It just didn't emotionally elevate it to the point where I'm like, yo, I'm so invested in this. I want it to be number one. But I do think they told an amazing story, so it gets more credit than any of those in any of these others. I am more of a Shield Hero fan than I am Clavetes. I'm not a Clavetes fan, but I think this was overall a better season, and they told what I would consider to be a better story, especially from an original point of view. Then we have Lord of Mysteries. Yep, I didn't put that as my number one either. Wow. I thought it was visually a masterpiece. I think the lore is very, very, very fantastic. By the time I ended the series, I didn't really feel that confusion. This is. Let me see if I can pull this off. 1 second. I have it in a way that I can get through this without copyrights. Just take a listen real quick. That I didn't actually play you the best scene. Let me see. What I'm trying to get you to feel is I didn't hear a lot of emotion from the characters when they did their voice work when it came to Lord of Mysteries. There was zero emotions. People were just saying lines. For me, not only was was content mix and it was hard for a first time viewer. We already got past that. That's really a rehash thing. People can say watch the dub. People can say you're dumb. Whatever their reason is, pause, rewind. Whatever their reason is. Those are all talking points that all of you have heard. But I want to stress that I think even in their Mandarin, if they had better voice acting, and I heard more heart, more emotion, it would have like lured me in more. Sometimes when you're in a long dialogue scene, and because there's not really strong emotions, fine, we finna do this. We finna rob these people, especially the lieutenant. We finna do this. Sometimes if that plot point wasn't the most interesting thing and there's no emotion, it's like I kind of didn't absorb what happened. I was reading, but without the emotion, I'm not remembering. I don't really feel like this is important. But when you want to emphasize something, I'm like, look. I really want to pull you into what I'm saying. Like I add emotion to key lines where I really just want you to listen. You know? I never heard a single one of that in the entire franchise, except for maybe two villains. There was one guy that laughed like a maniac, right? I'm pretty sure he's the main villain. I'm pretty sure no matter how you cut and dice it, he ended up in the baby and became like the main villain, or he's one of the two main villains. I kind of lost track of that towards the very end. But there's like two of them, and they were bad guys. But on the protagonist side, no one was really doing that. That's not the only reason that it's not on the top of the list. I wanted to say something that no one else really talks about. All the other complaints that you talked about are probably some of the very reasons. But it's a good show. So when you're like, yo, did you not like it? Oh my gosh, just drop it. I think it was a great show. I just told you I enjoy Shield Hero. I just told you I enjoy Clavetes. And you see me putting Lord of Mysteries. And I really don't know what to do because I think Lord of Mystery is better to like visually watch. It's a masterpiece to watch. I think the storyline is the lore in the world is dope. Claventus kind of was more simplified. It was something I was able to digest. I liked the voice acting, so it had me pulled in. But I can't say that Lord of the Mysteries, or I can't say that Claventus was better than Lord of Mysteries. And I can't tell you which one I liked more, but I will, because I remember Lord of Mysteries. I actually just don't really know. If I could be honest, I really don't really know between these two when we're talking about the which one I would rank it as. Gaki Akata actually keeps getting better. It really does. At this moment in time, I actually would like Gaki Akata more. Gaki Akata reached episode 12 and then has continued to get better, but I have to stop it as far as episode 12. And not episode 12, episode 12. We're on episode 12 right now. I have to stop it as of like episode 10. And as of episode 10, it was really just among everything else, to be honest with you. It's just now would have emerged if they had continued on the same exact path, but we're done. All right, To Be Hero X, way better than... wow, I went in too hard. To Be Hero X was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. Very original storytelling, which makes you want to put it up here. And it was just phenomenal. I actually had nothing but compliments. I have a creative decision that's different than a lot of other people. I found it hard to get invested because they kept changing the point of view of lots of people and you're getting different points of view. I don't think I'm really a fan of the way To Be Hero X did it. I do like that when it happens like once or twice, you know, especially happens in a rom-com. You see someone else's point of view, like, oh, they were thinking this the whole time. But they did it like the entire show. And right when you get invested, you have to, oh, we have a new person. But I'm the kind of person that gets invested more in the characters, sometimes the story, but the characters are very important. So if you keep changing the characters that I'm supposed to focus on, it's just a big deal to me. I stopped watching Walking Dead when one of my favorite characters was removed from the story. I literally stopped watching it. I'm one of those kinds of people. If my favorite is not involved, I'm like, why am I watching this? I get attached to people, not necessarily the story. To Be Hero X was focused on the story with a wide cast of people balancing it, you know, reminding you like they're still in the picture, but it was more about the story, in my opinion, than it was an individual character journey. I like following particular characters in their journey, and it was just a lot of people. That's just it. So what it was doing is it was preventing a certain level of investment that these others can pull off, right? Who was the main character of To Be Hero X? I think it's X, but was it? Not really. Like, tell me who the main character is. You can't. I don't think you can. There's a lot of main characters. You can't tell me the main character. The central character, if you ask Lee, is Nice, right? The real Nice. And X was pretty much the central characters, but they weren't always such a focus point. And I don't really know what else to put it. I need a main character to ride behind for the most part. For the most part. Here we are with Call of the Night. Then we got Call of the Night that also just didn't make it. There's actually nothing elaborate to speak about. I like Call of the Night. It's a nice rom-com. The voice acting was fire. The visuals was all phenomenal. There's actually nothing. I just don't have the excitement of a top 5 scenario. Just a very good scenario. Really like it, and I look forward to it. It was actually underrated, and my channel reacted to it, knowing that we wouldn't pull in a lot of views, but we liked the story. But that's just all. We just liked the story. All right. And then you obviously figured out who was number 1, right? Sorry, One Piece fans. We'll talk about your show. Whoa! It's Fragrant Flower, man. That was my number 1 anime of the summer of 2025. It just was phenomenal. I'm already rewatching it in dub with my wife. I do not like the dub. I won't lie to you. I do not like the dub. The dub does not carry in the way that I would like it to. But there are some things that the dub does well for me. And it's when I'm hearing Rintaro's inner thoughts in my own language. I already enjoyed it, but there was a certain level of poetry that just connected with me because I'm hearing it in my own language. So I do like that effect. That's just that. But I picked it because I liked it in Japanese. That's how I watched it originally. And it was just phenomenal. Why is Fragrant Flower number 1? Again, when you don't have action, people dying, powers and stuff like that, in my opinion, you have to work harder at telling a good story that captivates viewers, especially someone like me who wants action and that kind of sort. But the thing is, I guess I like action and stuff like that, but I've had something that I'm lacking, and right now in my life, Fragrant Flower is hitting me. I don't want to give up personal details because you just don't need to, but I'm in what I would consider like the best years of like my marriage, my relationship, where we had a good relationship. Let's just put it this way. Me and my wife, we're not ashamed to tell you this. We went from enemies to lovers. That is it. Even when we got married, we fought all the time. And about 3 years ago, just growth happened. That was at the peak of whatever we were going through in our life because, to To be honest with you, it had nothing to do with each other. I'm not even exaggerating. It had nothing to do with each other. I have my own stress as a man. Men just know the things that we have to deal with, and my focus is spread out. And then it's just trying to get someone to understand. And then my wife has her maternal things that she's focused on. And we just had different battles that we thought were best for the household. Both of us have the best intentions, but our battles were different, thinking that this is what we need to do to secure the household. My wife, we need love and care up in this bitch. And I'm like, we need more money. We need to work. We need to grind. No days off. Everyone needs to work. Everyone needs to grind. I need to grind. I can't spend time right now. I have to edit. I have to do this. I have to secure the family. I have to sell this house. Yeah, I know I was recording all day, but now I got to go out and do real estate. I don't have time. You see it with villains all the time, too. It's always a man wrapped up in this company doing stuff. That was pretty much the journey until I reached a point in life where I'm like, I think I can take my foot off the gas. And then because I took my foot off the gas, it's like a natural equilibrium where I took my foot off the gas and then she took her foot off the gas, and then all of a sudden we're driving at the same speed. We're both taking care of different things so we can both see each other and have a conversation. And now we don't have to yell at each other because our cars are revving engines and we're not even going at the same speed. We're going the same speed. We have EVs now, no longer gas or diesel. So our vehicles are very quiet and we're just able to talk to each other. We have EVs, electric vehicles, no combustion, no explosions, none of that stuff. Just talking to each other. A beautiful thing. I went off topic to let you understand where I am emotionally in my life, and a sweet love story is really going to touch me because that's what I want. I want all that love. I want all that. I'm trying to be better for you. You're trying to be better for me. You gave me courage, which gave me the courage to give you the courage. I want all of that. Give me all the candy, and this is exactly what it's given me. I'm like a worm. I'm like a parasite. I love sugar. I love sugar. It's not going to give me diabetes. It's my nutrients. It's my food source. That's what I'm here for. Fragrant Flower did that for me. Amazing. I care about multiple characters. They got me to buy in to whatever it is that the character was trying to do. Specifically, Rentaro. Most of it was from Rentaro's point of view. Rentaro basically would present a solution. Rentaro was the CEO of the Fragrant Flower Blooms at Diggity, and then we find out. Won't spoil it. Regari was the board of directors on that bitch. We just didn't know that she secretly controlled the company. It's like, why? If you've seen it, you know exactly what I mean. And then if you didn't, whatever. I won't spoil it for you. But yeah, Rentaro was the CEO. We're listening to him. He's very charismatic. But the shareholders, forget the board. The shareholder, the largest stake in this company was Regari. Rentaro does not know that who he was working for. He didn't know, but we know. He would set out whatever the mission statement was. I think this girl is special. I want to do this. I'm feeling this. I need to overcome it. He would set whatever the agenda is, set up a problem why he's not able to accomplish the agenda, and then tackle the problem. And it was exciting to watch it happen in real time. That's what it is. There's a lot of reward because you're invested with him. You see what the problem is. He tells you how he's going to do it. And you're like, yeah, I agree with that. He takes care of it. Dopamine. The character got through it. They got closer together. Woo, dopamine. While that is happening, we have the Subaru. There's a second couple, in my opinion, who's being built very slow. So slow that I'm almost making it up if I'm telling you. If you watch the anime, technically I'm making this up. But we have other characters to pay attention to, and we're surprised at the amazing support that this guy, Rentaro, is getting. Look at the way I talked about the Fragrant Flower that has bloomed with dignity compared to anything else on this list. Just think about it. Right? It tells you so much about how I feel about the show. And the writing was obviously good. It was good writing. Is it over-the-top writing? No, but like people keep explaining to me, it's like it takes a certain skill to write a story like Fragrant Flower and keep you engaged. The simplicity is also beautiful. It's a very simple story, and somehow it's amazing. If I tell you exactly what happened, it never tells the story. You just have to watch one episode. You just have to watch it. So that's the ranking. That's how I feel about it. If you guys want me to elaborate on any particular show, that will be its own video. So of this list, whatever you guys like, because it's already a 22-minute video, whatever show you liked, let me know, and I will elaborate on what I thought about it, my theories, and those sorts of things. And that's it. All right, guys, I value my time. I value yours. I don't want to talk about something that a lot of you guys don't care about. So You guys are, it's a community driven practice that I always do. The collective, y'all are in charge. The collective is you. Subscribe if you guys like hearing from me. If you guys respect my takes, or if you don't. YaBoyRockLee, I'm out. As always, thanks for supporting this channel. If you don't know, we do have a Patreon, and it's free to join. You can stay updated, suggest content, or vote on polls. If you're interested in our uncut and early reactions to anime, K-drama, Western shows, and movie reactions, which include exclusive reactions not found on YouTube, you can join the upper tiers on Patreon, or you can stick with the edited content right here on YouTube. We got YaBoyRockLee reactions also in the description of this video. Until next time, I'm out.